Auburn fans and YouTube. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here. For the podcast, go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to. Matter of fact, go ahead and smash the subscribe button twice. That way, you'll click the bell, and pretty much anytime I have a video talking about these Auburn Tigers, you'll know about it. Also, from a financial standpoint, because we got to pay the bills around here. And I appreciate some of the folks that have been following suit. Go ahead and hit that Cash App at $KENNARDSTEWART to contribute to the channel. Also, this channel is going to be kind of streamed as a live stream, if you will. Go ahead and hit that super chat. Hit that super chat. The collection plate is going around here for these Auburn Tigers. I appreciate the donations. I appreciate your contributions to Vernon Speak Sports Auburn over the years. As a matter of fact, now that I think about it, let's see, we started this thing late 2018. So we pushing, let's see, 2019, 2020, 2021. We're going into our fourth college football season with Auburn as a channel, and I want to congratulate you for one as fans, because it's some folks that's been sticking around here for a little while. Matter of fact, it was kind of gratifying. I had a Derek Luke, who was a Oregon fan, who actually joined my channel. We became good friends during the time that we were previewing Auburn versus Oregon. That was probably one of the most fun things that I've ever done in my life, because I actually like Oregon. I would venture to say that outside of Auburn, I'm not going to say that I'm an Oregon fan, but I really like them. I like their uniform combinations. I love the stadium that they play in. And I just like I like what they do. I like Autzen Stadium. I think they do a great job out there in creating a very good college football atmosphere. So, the recruiting season, as far as the early signing period, is over. Auburn finishes up 16 in the country. During that time, no one knew who the offensive coordinator was going to be. There were a lot of names kind of floating around. A lot of names, kind of came up, above water, but then they kind of sank back down, if you will. Then you had some names that were namesakes, were keepers, seemed to be keepers. As a matter of fact, if you look at Auburn as a program, I'll just say since Gus Malzahn onboarded in 2013 as the head coach, Auburn has had a real hard time retaining offensive coordinators. As a matter of fact, the offensive production is probably a direct correlation of that inability to retain those coordinators, because the offense has been inconsistent for quite some time, actually. It's pretty good in 2013, all right in 2014, pretty decent. And the thing about it with Rhett Lashlee, I just really thought that Rhett Lashlee was coming along as a coordinator and actually could have saved Gus Malzahn's job on that end if he would have allowed Rhett Lashlee to do his job. I just really think that Rhett Lashlee for Gus Malzahn, I would say would be the one that got away. He had great play calling skills. I really like what he was doing with his quarterbacks. He is now the current head coach of the SMU Mustangs. I want to give, real quick, just on that behalf, I want to give a nice shout out to Rhett Lashlee, who has continued to build on his careers from Springdale, Arkansas. He seems to be really solidifying himself as a solid college football coach. Offensive coordinator with the Miami Hurricanes. Actually did a stint at SMU in 2018 and 2019. rolled up to UConn as an offensive coordinator, quarterback coach after leaving Auburn. And I think he's really having a nice career. And I really wish him nothing but success up at SMU. And he has the opportunity to do so. So here's the skinny on Auburn as far as offensive coordinators. It was a little shaky anyway between 2017 and 2019. But since 2019, Auburn has had a brand new coordinator every year. Right? 2019, you got Kenny Dillingham, who is actually now the offensive coordinator in Oregon, which I think is a real interesting move. I'm going to keep my eyes on that one. I got those, you know how you got those eyes on those eyes emojis? I got my eyes on Oregon as they've hired Kenny Dillingham. I think that's a really interesting move on their part. Also in 2020, just a catastrophically terrible situation with Chad Morris, who has now catapulted his career. I think he's coaching high school football now. And most recently, Auburn dug up in 2021. Auburn dug up Mike Bobo as their offensive coordinator. As a matter of fact, I got a few Georgia fans that I know that were like, yes, what the hell are y'all doing? Because, as a matter of fact, my late great friend, Bryan Allen, he used to constantly talk about his frustrations with Mike Bobo. Bryan Allen, by the way, I really miss his comments and I miss our friendship. He's a Georgia fan for sure, actually went to Georgia. And he and I are fraternity brothers of the great fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. He pledged at Athens alumni chapter. Meanwhile, I had the great opportunity to pledge at the Theta Delta chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi, which is housed at Auburn University. But either way, he used to constantly talk about how he literally hated Mike Bobo. The play calling, and then when I had the opportunity to tangibly see this, I was like, I see what Bryan was talking about. This guy's good and horrible at the same time. Like, how do you do that? Like, how the heck do you do that? How are you, like, he's really, I think a lot of times when you're a coordinator and you have a certain, you have a certain genre of how you like to coach football, you can't veer away from that when it's time to. And I think that's Mike Bobo's issue, is he couldn't do it. At the beginning of games, he's probably one of the best coordinators I've ever seen. But as the game goes on and as the team started to make adjustments, that's when Mike Bobo starts to become severely shaky. And because of Mike Bobo's departure, Drew Bobo, his son, an offensive lineman that Auburn desperately needs. We're going to talk about that later on. Auburn's got to get some offensive linemen. I mean, this thing is really starting to get out of hand as far as the lack of offensive line depth and as far as just the offensive line presence at Auburn. That's been an Achilles heel, along with going through so many coordinators. If you look at Auburn's offense over the last few years, one of the reasons that any organization is going to be inconsistent is inconsistency at the point of leadership. All right, so that's what we got. So I say all that to say this. Auburn goes to the NFL route, and they have acquired Austin Davis as the offensive coordinator of Auburn. This will be the fourth offensive coordinator in consecutive years. 2019, Kenny Dillingham. 2020, Chad Morris. 2021, Mike Bobo. And now, Austin Davis. Austin Davis reigns out of Ringgold. I know most of y'all don't know where the heck this is. I know where it is. Excuse my voice. I know where this is. Ringgold, Georgia is a little town in the northern western portion of Georgia. If you're driving up 75 and you're headed into Tennessee and you want to go to Ruby Falls and all those different places, you're going to pass through Ringgold, Georgia. Ringgold, Georgia is probably one of those one traffic light kind of towns. So this is a small town boy here. Small town boy. He's only 32 years old. I looked up his age and I'm like, man, he's just above my next to youngest brother's age, who was born Christmas Eve of 1989, which kind of brings even more perspective. This is a young guy. He attended West Lauderdale High School in Mississippi. He was actually just born in Ringgold, Georgia, and his family moved out there to Collinsville, Mississippi. And he would become the winningest quarterback in school history. That's kind of cool, actually. And he also had the opportunity to play some Major League Baseball. Just didn't do it. He walks on at Southern Miss. He walks on, but then becomes redshirted in the 2007 season, and then became a starter after that. He actually had a really good career at Southern Miss, and he led the Golden Eagles to a bowl victory in the 2008 New Orleans Bowl. And when you look at his tenure, even as a professional football player, he played for the Rams, he played for the Miami Dolphins, Cleveland Browns, Denver Broncos, Seattle Seahawks, and the Tennessee Titans. Like, he's been all over the league. And what that shows me is, it shows me a resiliency, because a lot of folks would have quit. Like, hey, I can't make it here, I'm not making it there. But he continued to push the issue as a professional football player, and now as a coach. Here's what I think. I think if you're going to you're going to take your show to the next level, I think you need to learn as much as you can about the game and become a coach. I've been pushing this issue for a while. I mean, yeah, it's great to go on and be a professional football player, but when you have a situation where you have the opportunity to coach college football, here's the deal. Look at these contracts that these guys have. These guys have some crazy contracts to where they have a lot of guaranteed money, and then if they get fired, they get these severance packages that are absolutely ridiculous. And another thing, when you talk about being a college football coach or a coach in general, you don't have that degree of injury that you would have as an NFL or professional athlete. And your tenure tends to be longer, and that money continues to roll in. So here's what we got. We got Davis coming in as offensive coordinator, a pretty young guy. I think a very impressionable guy. You have a guy who has only coached in professional football, so he doesn't necessarily know the ins and out as far as recruiting. But good thing about it, he's got Bryan Harsin, who has done a great job of recruiting. He's got Derek Mason around him that can recruit. You got Zach Etheridge around him that can recruit. Carnell Williams. So he'll learn the game quick. He'll learn the game pretty quick. And I presume that he probably won't be calling plays. But to be able to navigate and, really assemble the offense. You see, it's more to being an offensive coordinator than just being a play caller. And when you have a young coach like Bryan Harsin, you need someone, in my opinion, that, is trying to learn the ropes as well. Because when you have someone who is tenured, kind of like a Mike Bobo or, someone in that regard, you have a lot of back and forth, conflictuous type, that's not a word, but conflictuous type situations in the offense. And the offensive schemes and the offensive coordinator position and how you present the offense probably has to be the most cooperative relationship between the head coach and the offensive coordinator because there's so many moving parts. And I think this is a okay situation for Auburn. Of course, we got to see how it plays out. But as we sit, that's what you got, guys. You got your fourth offensive coordinator in as many years coming to Auburn. He's a young guy, too, 32 years old. He's only 6 years older than that big dude from Georgia, the Troy Davis dude. I think that's his name, Troy Davis, number 99, that big dude. He's like 26 years old. But one thing about it that I like about this, too, is that he has experience. He has NFL experience. And he's close enough. I always like this quote. He's close enough to influence, but he's far enough to inspire. Hope you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and smash that subscribe button. Like or dislike the video. It really doesn't matter to me what you do. I appreciate your continual support of the channel. We're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers. I think we'll get there soon. Go ahead and pump the money in with the Cash Apps. $ Kennard Stewart at Cash App. Do that for me. I appreciate it. Also, with this video, I'm going to run it as if it was a live stream, so you can leave some super chats. And pretty soon, let me know in the comment section your interest level, which is okay if you're not or are. We're going to start the membership thing. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle.